I am ready for some programming today. I was working all morning on some things and got a little distracted and didn't realize it was time to start a stream, but I'm here and good to go. A little bit of just wanted to do one thing on this pattern I'm working on, and then back into the SVG library work. That's pretty simple. So that's the work for the day. Let's get this scene properly set up here and get to it. Still in the need of building a new stream setup here, but that should be fun for another day. Let's get getting chat ready here. Yeah, let's do that. So I've got this pretty much done here. The thing that obviously needs some work is the colors aren't correct. I'm not going to worry about colors yet because that's a easy change to make. It's also really boring, so just kind of going to save that for when I'm half awake already, you know, that kind of thing. It's basically mindless work. It's just tweaking lightness values and that sort of thing. The next big thing I will have to do for this pattern is create the template drawing files for there's a few shapes of animals on here. So the squirrel and the rabbit and the tree itself, they're traced templates, so I'll need to make the template file there. And that's similar, so this is from a different pattern here, but the template is printed with a true scale, and so it's a little bit harder to, well, you have to guarantee proper scale size for it to work. But that's something I'll do probably off stream. The cool thing about how I did this was, it's cool in my opinion, I made a little function that I called it line up, and it works by, let's see, where did I go? It assumes that you're lining up any number of shapes by their bounding box, either along X or Y. So those are the limitations. There's also not a alignment option yet, so it'll put everything on a center line. But it works, you pass it a list of objects, and sequentially it'll automatically calculate the translations so that they are exactly flush with one another. So that is up here. Oh, scrolled too far. Here, this lineup function takes a direction. Oh, it takes a gap as well. Oh yeah, that's right. I can gap these all if I want to, which could be kind of cool to show. And then it just calculates the translation distance for all of the things in order, which is, I don't know, pretty handy. It made this grid and this thing really easy to do here. I didn't have to manually calculate the translations, which is really something I probably should build into the core SVG handling library. But anyway, just happy with the result is all. Here, I actually am curious how this looks. It might not look good, but I'll give it a shot. So each row here, I'm going to gap it by 1 inch. And then here, I'm going to gap these by 1 inch. So I make all the horizontal rows, and then I make all the vertical rows, and I just stack them this way. Oh, that looks really cool. So let's see here. These ones are off because they have a different number of total rectangles, which actually makes sense, right? If I haven't, how do I say, it applies translations left to right with the same gap between them. So if you have more rectangles, the gaps will accumulate a greater distance by the end of the row, if that makes any sense. Basically, I'd have to align them, or I'd have to calculate custom gap widths to try and make it fit exactly to be flush at the end here. I forget, I think it's like a line equal, I don't know what it's called, but it doesn't matter. That looks pretty cool, I think, as a kind of exploded view sort of thing. So this, as I make these one-off documents here, I always put functions that I decide to make as I'm going, to make, like, they're usually just, oh, it'd be faster if I did this for this particular pattern. I put them in the bits section, and then the bits sections I can go through and pull key functions that are useful into a main library later on. This particular one here, the line up with the gap function like that, probably could be useful for some automatic exploded view generators for 3D stuff. So exploded views are an assembly. The view is exploded, as in it shows all of the parts taken apart and kind of aligned, so you can see how something might be assembled. Very useful for mechanical sub-assemblies and stuff like that. But if you can automatically calculate the offsets, you can get a nice exploded view almost for free. So that, you know, I didn't think about this while I was making this, but the basic principles of gapping the 2D stuff could be really useful for kind of semi-automatically laying out an exploded view in a 3D case as well. So the utility is applicable beyond just 2D things, which is always exciting to recognize. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to reset the gap back to 0 like I want, and then I'm going to move on to getting the SVG CLJ library going again and just chunking away on that for the day. Straightforward Tuesday work. I hope everyone else's work or projects or whatever they're doing is going okay. I am going to just be trying to chip away at the path stuff, and if I can be a nice little distraction or a nice sort of motivator in the background while you're doing your work, I am glad to be part of that. Okay. Let's fix the gap here and get things switched around. That was in the quilt section here. Each row, I want to reduce the gap back to 0. You can apply negative gap as well, but that's really rare that you would want to have something like that displayed. It doesn't make a lot of sense. But anyway, and then the gap between each row will also be 0. Boom. Cool. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so I'm going to leave this up and running in my background here. It it's not going to affect anything else, but I'm going to switch to my other REPLs here, or my other REPL. Try to get back on track here. There we go. There's that REPL. Just want to check that things are good there. Yeah. Stylo I don't need. Hercules is a different thing. Here we are. All right. Right back at it. And let's do github.com and get into this SVG library right here. And hop to it. Oh, I should cd dev svg git status. I forgot to commit the work I did yesterday. A common problem I have. I don't pay enough attention to Git. I don't have, so since I do my own projects more often than not, if I distribute code or something to someone else, it's usually as a finished website or some binary or some script that's a one-off. So needing a good Git flow has only been, well, I guess I need a good Git flow, but I haven't had to collaborate using Git at all. So my usage is a bit sloppy. So that's an improvement to make as I round the corner on releasing a library to, you know, to be effective for open source use. It'll be probably important to have a reasonably good Git style and discipline. And the list of things I need to improve is ever growing, it seems. I guess that's the nature of learning things at all. The more you know, the more you realize, or the more you're able to understand what you don't know, right? Anyway, Git commit was just path segment transforms first pass git push. Okay. So one thing that might be wise is to build out the rest of this pipeline and then ingest a more complicated path string to see if the input and output end up being equivalent. That's kind of, you want to round trip your input through your conversions, through your transforms, and then back out and compare if the end situation is equivalent to the start. If it is, then that it doesn't necessarily prove that your transformations are correct, but it does give you a bigger peace of mind. So, I suppose it's important to figure that out, eh? I'm realizing already there's an issue. And the issue is that if I convert a list of commands to path segments. Part of doing that changes, at least with the approach I have here, it does in fact change horizontal and vertical commands into line commands. So you might have a geometrically equivalent path, but you could end up with a longer path string running it through the conversion and then back out to the original, unless I preserve the command tag to recreate the exact call afterwards. So I just have to think about that a little bit, because that's probably the right thing to do. So here, what I would do in this case here, so given previous and current, you do instead of associating command, you actually can just ignore that. And all you would have to do is associate your input I have to change this a little bit. And the right approach is probably what if I just ignore the notion of segments for the time being? What if I just completely ignore that moment? That for a moment, I should say. So let's build out a simpler case here. Building path strings. So yeah, so building path strings. Okay. Given a sequence of command maps, produce a path string. Then we can loosely consider a sequence of commands maps to be the internal data structure for path manipulation. This means you can create multi-path strings by passing a list of these, by passing a sequence of sequences. A sequence of sequences of command maps. Yeah. For each command sequence, convert to path string, then apply string to concatenate, these path strings into the final string. You can alternatively treat each path string as the path element and draw them separately. The requirement is that if a user puts a path string into the front into the system but does not transform it in any way, they should expect an equivalent string to be emitted from the path to string. From the commands to string function. Right, so okay, that's a lot of gobbledygook. Let's just make something that'll work on, let's use A as the string in question. I'm going to do path string to commands of A. So the idea here, take this sequence of command maps, run it through my transformation function, and get exactly this back out of it. If that works, then I can work next on making tooling that handles the map sequence the way that I want it to. Okay, that seems pretty reasonable. I think I can pull that off. Right, so if I do it this way, I could make things simpler. The command, I don't need to make a special key. I can just take the argument as is, but I'm gonna leave it this way just to see, because it might be useful to leave them this way. I have to play around with it. So, but to build path strings, let's assume we're given a sequence. Okay, so define commands to string, commands to path string. Given a list of commands like this, do something to transform them all back into a string. Okay, and what is that something? Well, I can use some of this logic here from yesterday to build this out. So let's just paste it here as a rough reference. So commands to path string, here I would define single command to path string. Hey Mike, how's it going? Hope you're doing well today. And a single one of these commands can destructure this way. If I do keys, doing pretty well. That's good to hear. I am also doing well. A little tired. I guess I didn't sleep as well as I had hoped. I did a pretty hard workout, and I thought that would, you know, let me sleep nice and easy, but I had a lot of stuff on my mind, so it didn't happen. But it's just that I'm a little tired, not that I'm in a bad mood or anything. So you know how that is some days. But I'm actually feeling pretty good about working on my code today, you know? It's a good programming day. This morning I was working on another little pattern here, and I came up with a function to kind of, that I think is pretty fun. It's pretty cool. Let's show it here. Let's go look at this quilt for a minute. I have this function that I don't know if the name makes sense, but it's called line up. What it lets you do is you give the function line up a sequence of shapes, and it will automatically calculate the translations to get everything to butt up against one another in sequence without me having to calculate the translations at all. So let's see if and you can gap things as well. So if I change this lineup to have a gap of 1 inch between every object, this is the object or the row in question. It automatically gaps it for me, and it'll automatically, if I set it back to 0, you can imagine, I set it to 10, not 0. That's my mistake. So the sequence is, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, object 5. If I have to change this middle one, instead of being 12 inches, it's 2. Instead of manually having to move these other ones myself, it automatically calculates that the new translation isn't as far, and so it compacts the row. And you can do it in the Y direction as well. This is going to look really weird. It's going to be all messed up. But in the Y direction, it compacts things nicely there, and the rest of the rows are lined up weird because of how I've got it all structured. But point is, it works. And it was a fun little function that actually made assembling this particular one a little bit easier. So that was fun to do this morning, as well as get a bit of chores done, you know, that kind of thing. And back at the SVG CLJ now, trying to come up with a simple yet effective approach for doing my path manipulation stuff, and things are going nicely. That's my long answer. Things are good. Let's see here. There we go. Mike, I don't know if you have any siblings yourself, but I have three sisters and one brother. There's 5 of us. It's a big crowd. And, you know, boyfriends and girlfriends and all that. So we have a group chat, and I love it, but all we end up doing is sending each other just goofy pictures of ourselves, and like all of us, we save pictures of everyone's faces for like just to make fun of everyone later, you know. Not nearly as many. I have a younger brother. Oh, nice. Yeah, well, you know, I had no say in the matter, you know. My parents are the ones who who helped with the family, with the sibling side of things. I was just an innocent bystander. But we make it work. It's a lot of fun to have a family like that. And yeah, our group chat is just ridiculous. So I'm just getting messages. My youngest sister just sent, I don't know how she had it. She's got a video of me just looking ridiculous with a Flo Rida song in the background. It's horribly embarrassing, but you know what? That's what siblings are for some of the time. Oh man. I love them. I'm not complaining. Not even a little bit. Okay, so the keys that exist in the command map are that I need would be command coordinate system and the input. Got to get them back. Let the war commence. Oh, I've got plenty of ammo in that regard. The easiest way to do it is if your family is, you know, if you're used to filming each other, you know, at events and stuff like that, or just for fun or whatever. The best thing to do is scrub through videos, and you can just, humans make the most ridiculous movements. Normally you can't tell because in real time things look normal, but you just pause on certain frames and you get the weirdest looking faces basically for free, you know? So you can you've got infinite ammo if you need it. I don't know why I'm talking about pro tips on getting embarrassing pictures of your siblings, but there it is. I know the tricks. I'm just trying to think if I need a def multi here to recreate the string here from the command, and I just don't know. I want to say no, but I can't be certain about that. Well, I think not. Oh, I do need this as well. So my tiny little goal right now is to make a function that takes a single command map and builds the partial string from that command. So it's not that hard. I just have to essentially, yeah, I just need a reverse of the function that builds the command map to begin with. And so I'm just kind of using this as a guide here. This function I don't need, but I should paste that here. So if I this is not necessary in this case. So the command C, if the coordinate system is absolute, you get the map, you get the command string type here from this should say command. And if it's not absolute, it means it's relative, so you string lowercase the same thing. Then the string is just gonna be should just be apply string C to is that gonna work? I don't know if this is gonna work. I think it might not, but I'll see what happens. To input. I think that won't work, but let's take a chance. Let's do define B as first of path string to commands of A. Oop. So B is just one command. If I do command to path string of B, it's wrong, and that's not surprising. This doesn't make sense, I guess. If I just return C to this, does that work at least? Yeah, it gives M, which is sensible because the command is move. So the string M comes directly from this map here, so there's nothing crazy about that. Oh, I could just do this. Per discussion yesterday about, oh man, seriously? Sorry, Mike, give me a second here to, whoa. Bit of spam here, sorry about that, give me a second. Report these. My keyboard has now remembered the word spamming links. Great. But let's see what you said here. Per discussion yesterday about dev environments, I went through and did some Tmux color scheme and customizing. Oh, that's cool. Do you have like a link you wanted to share with that or something? Because that's pretty sweet. I never was good at figuring out Tmux customizing when it came to color schemes, because it always would interfere with like the app specific color schemes, and it always confused me. But that sounds really cool. Report. Can link it at some point. Got to report all these bots. All right. Let's see here. Oh, don't want to do that. Mike, I made you a mod to see how to, I've never done that before, so I want to see. I don't know if that's a smart thing for me to do. I'll unmod you if you abuse your if you abuse your powers, but I think you might be able to. Actually, I don't know. You can block and report anyway, right? But while I'm here messing with things, I just figured I'd try that out. Of course, if you don't want or need that at all, you let me know. But also thank you for trying to get rid of the bots as well. I appreciate that. All right, let's see. All right, where was I? I was, oh yeah, trying to make this work. Basically, I actually want to do string C to the result of apply string to input, like that, with a space. I think that'll actually work. Let's try that now. All the power. He's got a new block menu now as well. You can block like I do. Oh, perfect. Okay. Well, so like I said, you know, you take it or leave it. You let me know if you need things to change. I'm not trying to put responsibility on you at all, but you're here a lot and you want to help out from time to time. So maybe with a little bit of the mod privileges, that could actually be easier for you. I don't know what I'm doing half the time, so you know, don't feel any pressure. But yeah, you've got a little mod badge now too. It looks like, so that should be good to go. I hope that's okay. Got you covered. Swing the band hammer on the bots with great force. Perfect. That sounds wonderful. And who knows, maybe one day we'll actually need to do it on real actual humans. Hopefully not much, but if it ever comes to it, we'll handle that as well. Oh boy, I'm apparently burpy today. Trying not to make gross noises into the mic, but sometimes, you know, the human body will do what it does. Okay, this is not what I wanted to do yet. Let's try to just run this. Okay, is that correct? Ooh, it's not quite correct because I need this space to stay put here, and of course it doesn't when I just apply string to the input list directly. I have to interpose spaces into the input in order for that to work. And that should give me the result I need. It does. I also realize I don't actually want to explicitly put a space at the end there, because when I wire this together for this one, basically I want to do apply string to interpose space between the result of map command to path string over commands. And if I run that commands to path string on A, which is a list of commands, it doesn't work. Well, okay, fine. Oh, because I need to run it. Oh, not on A, but on path string to commands of A. Hey, look at that. The round trip is equivalent to the starting point, which is a good thing. That's exactly what I need. Okay. So now, I might have, so I'm not sure yet, but so far I've just abandoned the idea of there being, so commands are maps, but path segments, I was going to make a new map that kind of combines two commands into one so that you get a valid segment string. But I don't know if that's necessary. I also don't know, like it might be more confusing than is worth it. So right now, I think I've got enough structure around the commands to be able to build I don't know. It's a little hard to say. Yeah, all this path stuff is, well, I've clearly not thought it all over very carefully yet. I'm trying to be clever without being overly clever, you know? Okay, I'm gonna go to the washroom, but what I'm gonna do when I get back is try and build a implementation of translate for path elements using the new command map approach. So basically what that means, I'm pretty sure I will need to make a def multi for, so right here I've got a method of the translate element thing for path elements, and it uses some old path manipulation functionality. Basically what I want to do is create here in the new paths section here, I want to have I want to replace this part here. Basically what I have is I split the path in the old method into a list of points, and then for each point I just do a vector add of the translate that you want to do, and then I rebuild the string and pass it in as a new prop. I want the same mechanism to happen, and so I want exactly the same thing to happen, but I want to clean out this part here and use the new path command manipulations instead, so that it's a little bit clearer, basically, is the goal here. I'm gonna head to the washroom though, and I will be right back. Oh, you sent, I'll read your message. I'll read your message when I get back. I won't be long. All right, back at it. Oh, Mike, you watched some of the video that I linked the other day about the compiler. It was pretty good. Hey, thanks for watching that. I appreciate it. Glad you liked it. You know, as the first video, I think I did a pretty good job. There are definitely things I want to get better at doing on the production side. And I have a few ideas for how I can approach it differently, but you know, just like everything, I gotta kind of experiment a little bit. But I'm glad you liked it. I think probably the worst part about that video is its length. I feel like if I can get videos of that nature a little bit tighter, a little bit shorter, that might be better. But even so, I'm proud of it, and I'm glad you watched it. That's really cool. Thank you, thank you. Let's see here. Right, so path element. Well, actually, now that I think about this, let's see. Oop. Oh, let's go here. SVG path. Again, I'm being lazy and just copying some very basic sample data here. It was a pretty robust target, I would argue. It's hard to shrink the time down without just being a video of me writing code and not explaining anything at all. Yeah, that's you hit it right on the head there. That was the challenge I had when editing that video. So I don't know if you could believe this. I mean, you probably can, but the raw footage of that programming session I did was 1 hour long, right? I managed to get the edited time of the runtime down by half. Like, that was quite a bit of cutting. And you know, you want to be you do the first pass of edits, right? You just cut the obvious stuff, but then like you can't be precious about, oh, I liked when I said this. If it doesn't really fit, you chop it out, and oh man, your ego takes a beating. In a very real sense, you know, while you're recording it and talking, everything feels like it makes sense, but then you go and edit it and you're like, I understand what I was getting at, but it doesn't flow with the rest of what I was saying. Just cut it. You got to be ruthless. And even so, you're totally right. How do you make it much shorter than what you've got? In theory, you edit things down so finely that there's nothing you cannot remove. I don't know if I achieved that, but cutting half of the footage away, I think it resulted in a pretty good video. That, you know, maybe it's not so much needing to make the video shorter, but over time getting more clever with the video, or like the project ideas themselves, make the project inherently interesting to watch, so that the length of the video is a little bit less of an issue. You know what I mean? Like, if it's a really, really boring thing, you either don't want to make a video at all, or make a really short video that makes a really good point. But the more cool the idea is up front, you could potentially make the length a little bit longer and people would still enjoy the video. Of course, the issue there is cool is a bit subjective when it comes to when it comes to video ideas. But like I said, it's the first one. I've got time for experimenting, so I am happy with the outcome. It's not about being perfect, it's about getting stuff out there, right? Because the more you make, the more you learn. I learned, well, I mean, I knew that in principle a long time ago, but my younger brother, he taught himself, well, over years, he taught himself all kinds of instruments, piano and guitar. I'm sure he does a bunch of percussion things. He learned the drums from a teacher, and since then he's been learning and doing instruments. But he over the summer part of the pandemic, he got into what's it called? Like music production using like Ableton Live and one of the other big ones on Mac. I don't remember the program. Anyway, and he just made like an EP, and every song was its own unit, and every song he said, this is done, it isn't perfect, and then he worked on the next one, and he used some of the things he learned from that one to make this one, and it was amazing. So my younger brother really inspired me more generally to just go ahead and make more stuff in the creative realm, and just take it from there. I feel as if that's the fastest way to learn the best lessons while still being creative and original, you know? It's fun. I think you're onto something with that. You could also tackle bigger topics in a series as opposed to just one video. No matter how cool a topic, if it's complex, it will still require some time dedicated to learning it. Absolutely. Completely. And so maybe this is a selfish thing to say, but I mean, half the motivation for me making videos is so that I know I understand a thing well enough to explain it. That's like a bar of understanding that I'm always proud of, you know? If I can impart some actual knowledge of something onto someone else by explaining it, that's a reasonable indicator that I've learned to a reasonable depth certain topics. It's not always a good indicator, right? Because you can explain a lot of things in a hand-wavy way and people think they understand them. You don't want to trick yourself into thinking you know what you're talking about. That's never good. But you can gauge your confidence a little bit and how well you can teach, right? Okay. So I'm trying to replace essentially I want to make a new translate element that uses my new data structure. Call it translate element 2 as a start, and this, you know, I'm gonna slice this out here so that I don't lose myself here. Okay. X, Y, K props. So K, I know, is going to be the path. It's going to be path keyword, and properties is going to have, it's going to be a map that has a D in it for sure, and it can also have other things like user style data. It could have user input translates and stuff like that. But the only thing I care about in the props is the D attribute, which then immediately gets converted into let commands, right, be path string to commands of D from props That's good. Yeah. Okay, so now I do need, in the case of B, I'm not thinking through this very clearly right now, unfortunately. Okay, basically all I need to do is let's imagine I have all the functions I need. Okay, so the new result here is going to be some new props built into this. So I recreate the path element having translated the commands, which will be then let's make this xf commands, transformed commands, x commands, like that, is going to be a sequence. So, but I want to map the function that I haven't created yet is just going to be translate path command, and it's going to take position like that, and then the command like that. So I map that function over the commands, and that's the transformed commands. And then to build the new properties, what I need to do is this assoc stuff here. So I'll do that right in the line here. Assoc into the existing props, the original props thing, into the D. There, I want to take the result of commands to path string of having translated all of that stuff, I just run this on X commands, and that should emit just a single string, which is all you can put into the props there. So that should theoretically work, minus the fact that translate path command doesn't exist yet. So if I do def multi translate path command, and I always forget how to write the def multi. Oh, right, since, okay, this is going to be easy here. Def multi translate path command is going to take path command maps, which guaranteed have these keys in them. And so I'm going to just have command as the dispatch function. So it's going to dispatch on the result on whatever key is in the command spot there, basically. So using that, I should be able to build out def method translate path command for various command types, and we'll start with move. So translate is a nice one to start with because it's really straightforward. Whether or not the command is absolute or relative actually doesn't matter in the case of translate, because if I translate any shape, wait, now that I say it out loud, I have to just think through if that's actually the case. If I translate a shape plus 10 in the X and plus 10 in the Y, all I have to do is add 10 to the x value and add 10 to the y value, and it doesn't matter if the original command were absolute, because the result will be the same, nor does it matter if it was relative, because now I'm second guessing myself. This shouldn't be that hard, but I can't picture it properly in my head yet. I'm gonna assume that they're fine, and I can make some tests, right? I can make some tests and put them on the screen and figure it out then. I don't have to think too hard right now. I'm gonna go with my gut, and that's, I'm pretty sure it doesn't matter. I just add the X and Y translations into it, and then I think we're good to go, regardless of relative or absolute. If this is a problem, I might have to, or I might want to anyway, put some kind of path optimizer functionality in too. So for example, have given any path a function that runs over the whole path and converts all relative coordinates to absolute coordinates. In the context of a whole path, it does matter, and to convert relative ones to absolute ones, you have to look back through the chain of commands until you get one that's either the origin or the first command, and then add back everything to make it all absolute. And then there's some different algorithm to make everything relative. Those would be theoretically useful. It would also be useful to optimize by having, if the user put in something that has only line commands, you could optimize out certain commands into V and H calls maybe, but that's a whole other ball game for another day. Right now I just want to make sure I can actually make this work. So, right, enough chit chat there. In this case, if I take I always forget this. Let's do Clojure keyword destructuring. I don't know if that's even what it's called, but let's have a look here anyway. Okay. This is what I was looking for. Okay, so wait a second. All right, I'm gonna try use this as something useful here. All right, so in the case of getting this thing pulled in, I do need to take some of the keys, and those keys are I don't need the command key anymore. I do need the coordinate system key. No, that's not true. I actually only need the input key, but I need I do need access to the whole map as, I'm going to call it M. I think this will work. Let's give it a try. Let's make a, oh boy, ASDF, and we'll just make some fluff here. So keys input as M. Okay, that's the input to this that I want, and I want to just give back a map, or give back a vector that shows me the result of input and what M is itself. Okay, so if I do ASDF on B, it works. Okay, so I get the input as a symbol here, and then I get the whole map there. Okay, that's exactly what I wanted, because all I want to do here is merge merge the original map. Oh, I want to merge two maps. Oh, no, sorry. I don't need to do that. I can actually just do assoc into M input. Is that the right order? I always forget this. Map key value. Okay, good. Assoc into the map M into the key input, some new input which is transformed here. And in the case of the move command, I know that the input is guaranteed to be an X and a Y value. So all I have to do is the vector addition of those two. And I'm realizing let's put it in the utilities here. I'm going to make myself a little function here, defin v plus. Now, this I have no idea what the correct approach actually is. I also already wrote this. Let's open it up because I'm feeling a little lazy today. Oh, wait a second. Maybe I could do this. Clojure.repl/source f/v plus. Ooh. I thought I could have got away with that. Oh, well, that's why I don't have that namespace here. Well, okay. Let's go to the source. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's super easy. Does that work for any? Oop. I don't want that there. Let's go back. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 plus 2 plus 4, 7. 1 plus 3 plus 5, 9. Looks correct to me. There we go. Okay, so with those simple little helpers, so part of me wonders if it would be better to do something like, I've never done this before, but like def protocol, and then here you do whatever it is you need to extend plus to handle vectors, right? I don't know. Probably it's a good idea, but these are so simple and quick that I'm not too beat up about doing it that way. That's definitely something. So it's a small library. I want to keep it simple. So this, in my mind, is easy to understand. Def protocol might be harder to understand for someone who's a little newer to the language. I mean, case in point, I've not used them myself. I'm sure I can learn them, but until I know for sure that I should use them, I'm going to use this because it seems like a good approach. But that's a tangent from what I'm trying to do here, which is translate path command. Okay, so assoc into the input, the new input, which is just going to be the vector addition of Oh, of course, I forgot to put X and Y here. That is going to work, right? Should be fine. X and Y. Oh, actually, I don't know if that's more readable. It doesn't make a difference, really. All right, yeah, so I add X and Y to the old input, which is going to be input like this. Okay, is it going to work? I don't know. Oh, in order for me to test it, I have to at least do, so in the case of move and L, they're actually going to be the same. And Z, so close. Close has no notion of translation, so I don't need to do anything. So given a close command, so let's take last of path string to commands of A, right? That's the close command. All I need for that is actually to run the identity on it. So let's do that. Instead of destructuring this stuff, I can just run in any situation here. It's just going to be 2 empty arguments, and I just return identity. Wait a second, is that actually gonna, no, that'll return a function. I don't need it to return a function, I needed to return the thing that it gave me. I'll just do that. Okay. So using just those 3 as a starting point, I should be able to use this translate element 2 to successfully translate a path with the new approach to it. What did I do wrong here? Translate, can't resolve symbol translate element 2 in this context. Wait, what did I just do? Oh yeah, of course. No, of course I can't do this. It's a method. It's not a function. Of course, I must do this. I must temporarily replace. Oh, I must have not loaded the. I must have not loaded everything. Shoot. Okay. Well, let's get to it then. All right. Stuff's not loading for me the way I want it to. Why is that? where, oh, this. Oh, I also realized this should be commented out for the time being. There we go. Okay, I should theoretically be able to run this function to actually get a translate, but let's define B to be P with D as equal to A. Oop. I will learn to use the right bracket types. Okay, B is a path element that I should hopefully be able to run translate element on now. Oh, P is wrong. It should be paragraph. Or no, P is a paragraph tag. I need it to be path. There we go. Oh, okay. So I destructured this incorrectly a little bit. Or I should say well, I did it wrong. So here, I thought that this would oh, I have to do this. I have to do I think I have to do this. Let's try that. Oh, man, I change the things way too quickly sometimes. Okay, there. Let's try that. I think the dispatch will work the way I want it to now. Apparently not. See, I really like multi-methods, but I always do forget little bits about it, unfortunately. I'm sure there's a way to do this. Okay, so commands. You'd offer to help, but haven't got into multi-methods in Clojure yet. Oh, no worries. So I am just, all I'm mixing up right now is how to properly format the dispatch function. The actual definition of the methods themselves is correct. The reason I'm messing it up is because you only write a few def multis, but you always write a bunch of def methods for the multi, if that makes any sense. And I just lose track of it. It shouldn't be that hard. I'm just having a brain fart, you know? Okay, here I have an example. Okay, so this is a simple def multi here. This works. So what have I done here? Def multi parse command input. Since I know in this parse command input situation, I'm passing it only one map and nothing else. The dispatch function can just be the key lookup basically. So when you run your def multi here, the first thing this does is run the function here on the input. So parse command input, if I take a command to be let's see here. Here, right? So this is the command map. If I run parse command input on it, the first thing that's happening is it's running the function command on that, which gives me close as the result here. So this, now the next thing it does is look up the method based on that result. So you could do something like, you could make something dispatch on, if you know you're doing a multi-method of strings, and let's say the string could be start either with an A, a B, or a C, your def multi function could be something to the effect of, well, you could actually just do first, in the case if you guarantee they're strings. If you run first on some string that says A at the start, you can dispatch on characters if you wanted to, or you could do you could make it do you could comp string with first to make it a little less weird, maybe. Point is, you can make the function whatever, as long as it outputs something that you can then put as your match here, right? So you could use strings, you could use weird nested structures, I think. You could kind of do a lot of different things. I always try to make it as simple as possible, but what I mess up here is this worked because I'm only passing in one argument. I guess I'm messing it up here. Way down here. Translate this element. All right, here. I'm messing it up here because I'm not passing in a single argument. I'm actually giving it two arguments. So the first argument is the translate is X and Y, and then the second one is the map. So I'm trying to remember how to appropriately handle that, and it's not working yet, that's all. Not sure if that made any sense to you. I thought this one would have worked. It's oops. Oh. Oh, here's how I can kind of make, let's do this. Def method translate path command default. All I want to do, a command, I want to just return a and command like this to see what the deal is. Okay, so B is the path I care about right now. Oh, right, let's also run translate path command on not this, but some made up thing. Right. Okay. Okay, so this is telling me that given this structure, command, this is not command. Oh, of course. Wait a second. No, that's not what I wanted. a bit. Seems like a pretty cool concept once you get a good grasp of it. Yeah, it's extremely powerful. It's like you could arguably create the same end result if by using only functions. If you did something weird like this, if you did the dispatcher for multi, right? And well, let's say dispatcher ASDF, right? And then you have any number of arguments, whatever you want. Let's say it dispatches on some X. You could manually write your cond here, and you could check, okay, so if X equals A, then you call some function ASDF for A's, right? Using X as the argument. And then here you do equal X B ASDF for B X. So all of these are, you know, you've got the dispatcher here. It can transform the X as however you want. You've got your conditionals here, and they match, and then they run their own unique functions for each of that. You end up with the same kind of result, but it's a little more convoluted, a little unclear, right? Yeah, Mike, what you just said there. So the command that matches one of the three methods is never being created. The output reads that the command, which should match move, is actually the data object you are passing. Yes, I had just come to that conclusion as I was looking at this. I haven't destructured it all properly yet. You're completely right. So what I need is the command that comes from this string, which I haven't generated yet. I thought that I was being smart, but very clearly I was not. Right, so commands here I'm trying to run this code in my brain. I thought this would work. Huh. Yeah, there. So this should work. Commands here. Isn't that method called translate element though? And doesn't it fall under the multi? I'm not sure what you're asking right now. Let me try. So this is getting confusing. I have two different multi methods that I'm trying to understand here. So this one here, translate element, when everything is loaded, it's not all loaded properly right now. If I do circle 2, that makes a circle object. If I do translate element on the circle, I don't know if Shoot. That's not what I'm after. So what I'm trying to get is this line to work here, where I map the multi-method translate path command over each command here. That's what I'm trying to get to work. And I don't know why it isn't yet, because I kind of thought that it would, to be totally honest. Sorry if you're saying something that should be clear. I'm not maybe following what you're saying. Oh, here. Okay, I see what you're saying. I should be testing translate element in the REPL here. That's what you meant. I think. Yeesh. This is me being silly. Still learning the nomenclature. Oh, no. So I was just not following what you were saying. So this was a human error in the REPL, right? So I don't want to be patronizing. You know what the REPL means, right? I would assume you do. If you don't, that's totally cool. So when I'm running my code here, it's in the REPL. Yeah, you're good. Okay, cool. I figured you probably did, but so what happened here is when you were saying you should be calling translate element, you were 100% correct. What I thought you were talking about was in here in my work in progress definition of the function of the method here. So this is what I want to call here. It was just I was using the wrong function in my REPL session here. So you were totally right. I was the one who was making a bit of a fool of myself, as it were. So all right, let's test it using the right call this time. Okay, so we've got a null, which is a different kind of error, which is nice. Yeah, the joys of talking over the internet via chat. Yeah, unfortunate, as great as text communication can be, it is not 100% effective at information transfer, especially when you got an imperfect brain working on either side. In this case, it's my imperfect brain, not saying anything about yours. Let's see here. Just checking my messages. Sorry, gotta stay in tune with the real world, I can handle these later. That's fine with me. Right. Okay, so we have a null pointer exception. Never a good thing, but this is good in the sense that it's a new type of error, so I can move forward a little bit. Great. Okay, what is the deal here? Now, I feel as if I should try to run translate path command on some command that I make up here, move. Chord system, abs, doesn't matter. And input 2020. Okay. So that's not anything. Oh, okay. So here's what's happening now. I have this default command here. So I don't have anything. This dispatch for this isn't working now, which is a good thing to know. But I do need to find out why that's the case. So I would have thought that this would actually work. Apparently not. Well, let's see. Clojure, def multi. Let's see. Let's go to some examples and try to figure it out. Excuse me. Oh, maybe. Okay, maybe. Wait a second. Oh. No. Maybe it's just this. So given some, maybe it's like that. Destructure it one more level. Let's try that. I'm not sure that that's it. No, doesn't seem to be. Okay, so let's I'm guessing a little bit here, unfortunately. I thought I had sorted this all out. I thought I figured it out. Let's see. Maybe there's a way. So in this case here, in the translate element thing, the function drops the first piece, and element is the second bit, and first from element gives me the key to dispatch on. Oh, wait a second. Is it the case that it might, okay, so this might be part of my issue here is I think this is actually correct, where I have the function m, and I have to pull command from m, but I cannot, how to redefine, I think, def multi doesn't redefine itself easily in the REPL. I think that's what's going on here. Excuse me. So here we are, Clojure docs example, def multi won't allow you to redefine it. That's the problem I'm having here. This is what I want to run here, ns unmap, this here, and then re-eval it with the new def multi. It's a bit of a gotcha. It breaks my brain, as in it's not what you would assume. So that's kind of, in my opinion, that's a bit of a downside to if you're just first learning def multi. Seems like a terrible thing to have to learn the hard way. Well, and that's just the thing. The only reason I was able to come up with that as a reason so quickly in quotes here, it took me a minute to think about it still. The only reason is because I've already run into that problem before. So, you know, I don't love that. It's a flaw. But you know, they don't design Clojure without thinking, so I'm almost certain a real reason for it being that way, but if you're repling, you might want to redefine the def multi dispatch function. Yeah, so this example is exactly, you know what, let me copy this link. Where's a good idea to where's good to put that? Oops. There's no good spot to put this because I'm going to run into it everywhere. You know, if I were the perfect developer, I would just keyboard shortcut into my knowledge base and just paste this in as a new thing in the whatever the popular one is now, Zettelkasten or something like that, and it would auto link to all my other knowledge and I'd never forget it ever again. But here I am, an imperfect man, just trying to put this somewhere useful for now. Let's go there. Remember, in REPL, you can't, there we go, redef the def multi dispatch function without some namespace magic. Paste. And I'll have the snippet here. Here. Okay. Clojure, please. That is clear enough for now, but it means now I have to go here, ns unmap. Yeah, so Mike, if you get around to where's the little demon emote when you need one? It's pure evil. You know, I'm sure there are some is it like this? I don't know what I'm talking about. Old school emotes. ASCII. But you're totally right. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. All right, enough emote searching right now. I don't know what happens if you type like some thing like this. Do I know what I'm doing? The answer is no. Hey, there's one from GDQ. Nice. Perfect. That'll fit perfectly. I love it. I am curious about this. I'm distracted, and I want to. It doesn't do anything. Ridiculous. Okay. Well, you know, your little devil emote there from GDQ will do the trick perfectly. But you know, I'll say my little failure here maybe is a good thing in the sense that now you know if you're messing around with multi-methods in a REPL session, now you know what you have to do. And I have to do svg-clj.main. I want to unmap the symbol translate path command. Oh, maybe I don't have to do this. I could just do... Oh, there we go. Okay. All right, let's give that a shot. Maybe I can get a little bit of benefit here. Okay. Let me see now. Let's try to run this. There we go. That's what I want to see. All right, so that worked, right? So the original command was move with an absolute coordinate system and an input of 2020, and I wanted to translate the command by 1-2. The new input for the command is 2122. So now I should be able to just run translate element on this B element here. So if I do translate element 2020 on B, let's see here. M moved from 150 to 170 and 20, 95, 75. There we go. 20, 20. It's pretty promising. When you get partner status, I'll design an emote for you. That's an evil REPL for the chat. Hey, perfect. When I get partner, that's unfortunately going to be a while from now, I think. I really don't know if it's like the time of day that I'm streaming. Like, I'm not sure what variable to change to get bigger influx of views, but I'm not going to worry about that today. I'm not going to worry about that for the month of January at least. But when I get partner, there will be we'll have a nice it's perfect. We'll have a nice weird evil REPL emote. I love it. One day. Okay, it looks like the translate element thing is working the way I wanted, which is actually really quite nice. I do need to finish building out the where was I? This is not it, but I am gonna clear that. What time is it now? 4:05. Okay. Move, line, close. What are the rest? think I would have memorized them by now. H line, and I am going to go to the washroom for a minute. I'll be back very shortly. There we go. Okay, what do I got in store here? I missed my morning run, so I might squeeze in a run before dinner. I think I'm gonna go for another 15, maybe 20 minutes, and then get going. But that should be enough to kind of stub in at least a few more of these path command translate functions, which is nice. Do it. Definitely going on a run after work. Nice. Yeah, it's only -1 outside here, so that's pretty good for running. It's not too bad. I actually don't mind running in the cold at all. It's just, well, so if it's, let's say, -10 and still, that can be a really nice run. If it's -10 and there's a breeze, it just hurts your face. So I do have limits, but -1, not a real big problem. Plus, you know, if you run, you work up a sweat anyway. You get a little toasty. So this is actually kind of why a multi-method is nice here. Because in the case of a horizontal line, the input is just a single number. But I want to have my translate be generic. Like I want to be able to put the same XY arguments here. In the case of a horizontal line, the only thing that matters in the translation of it will be adding the X value. So that's all I'll have to do here. And this is exactly why a multi-method is helpful. And And I think that'll work, unless I'm just not thinking about it properly, but it should be okay. And then the vertical line, you need to just do it with Y, and then it's the same otherwise. Okay, so that should handle all the straight line elements here. I'll get to the curve in just a moment. Wind is the worst, especially when you're on the way back from the midpoint and the wind is blowing against you. Oh man, that's the worst for sure. I always hate it when you go outside and you're like, oh, I thought it was windy. And then you're like, oh, it's not so bad. And then you turn around and there it all is, you know? It's like, oh, that's why the wind wasn't there. It was secretly helping me this whole time. Yeah, and then you've got half the distance to go and worse condition, and you're more tired. When I lived in the Netherlands, I would bike to and from work, and it was when I was first there, it was a short commute, 10-minute bike ride, but they moved offices, but I didn't move cities, so it became a 45-minute bike ride. And I like cycling a lot, so that wasn't really a big problem, but there were some days where the wind and the rain was sideways, and if it was against you the whole way home, that was a pretty miserable 45 minutes. So yeah, the wind, I don't know, not a big fan. Not a big fan of that stuff. Okay, vertical line and horizontal line I'm going to say are good for now. Let's get into the mess of this curve, and I don't remember how that works. SVG path curve command. I forget all the inputs to it. Maybe this will tell me. Oh, this is nice actually. 45-minute ride sounds like a nice decompression, but the sideways rain is a hard pass. Oh yeah, so in any normal circumstance it would be for me as well, but I didn't have a car when I was over there. I used my bike for my transportation, and don't get me wrong, 85% of the time it was exactly what I wanted. There was just the occasional time where it was raining and I didn't want to sleep at the office all night. So, there you are going through the rain. It's definitely way better to have dealt with that over in the Netherlands because they have proper bike lanes and stuff. It's like a society that actually cares about cyclists and using bikes as a legitimate transportation mode. In my area in Canada here, that's certainly not the case. I miss that. But yeah, the sideways rain, I don't miss that. Not even a little bit. Okay, so curves, the curve command has the end point of the curve, and these x1, y1, x2, y2 are control point positions. The nice thing about a Bezier curve, I happen to know this from having read about it before, if all you're doing is translating, the control points and the start and end point, if you move them all uniformly, it will not change the shape of the curve itself. So this is actually pretty straightforward as well. I just have to do something a little weird here where I do x, y, x, y, x, y, x, y, and that'll work for curves. This same idea will also work for smooth curves, just -1 pair here. Should maybe leave a little note to myself here so I can explain this in better documentation. X, y, x, y, x, y, because input will have the form x1, y1, x2, y2, xy, x1, y1, first two pairs are control points, and that's the same. Oops, there we go. Similar approach to above. There we go, but one control point is implicit. And that's by definition of the SVG spec. That's not on my end of the code. That's just the way it is with the smooth curve, because so it's smooth curve because you give it a starting curve, and then instead of manually placing this blue control point yourself, if you do an S command, it will automatically calculate that based on the control point of the previous curve, so that there's no hard corner on your curves. That's why that is an option there. What am I doing now? The next one is, so I've done C, I've done S. The next one will be Q, which is a quadratic. Is that it? Cubic. Yeah, that's right. So a quadratic Bezier curve is actually simpler than a cubic, mathematically speaking. And it is going to look pretty much like this, actually. Okay. Right, so this has just whatever the starting position was from your previous command, the singular control point, and then the end point. So yeah, this is exactly equivalent in this case. It ends up being the same. Yeah, and then here, smooth quadratic, T, is just the endpoint position. Super simple. So this honestly, this almost feels as if the def multi in this case is overkill, but I don't want to assume that is guaranteed to be true, because it might not be. Actually, no, you know, I do like it. It's clear. It's nicely delineated. It does matter for this stuff, H-line, V-line, and it certainly will matter for arcs, which have the weirdest syntax here, the most complicated out of all of these things. It's also useful for close, because it just very quickly reads as, okay, it's basic. Close is basically the identity, and it's nice to have that all laid out clean. I'll have to move this section probably into the path DSL section, but that's fine. That's okay. Smooth quadratic, this is going to be arc, and arc I might not. Well, let's have a look here. So let's make a note of arc. It's RX, RY, X rotation, large arc flag, sweep flag, X and Y. Okay, so RX and RY don't change. Yeah, it seems useful to use here. Worst case scenario, you realize it's not the right tool, and you can refactor it pretty easily. Yeah, the nice thing is, so if you start with yeah, you're totally right. If you start with the def method and then you want to go simpler, basically you just define a function and then delete the def method, right? Basically, if you discover that 4 out of 5 or some majority of the cases will all be handled by the default case, you can refactor and use the default case as the function definition, the function body, right? And then just add whatever minimal conditional you need. It's really quite straightforward. But yeah, I think you're right that def method's probably useful in this scenario. Okay, so this arc here, let's just do this. Rx, Ry do not change, right? With the translation, they don't change at all. X rotation, also no change. I don't need to shout at myself here. Okay. Large arc flag and sweep flag, again, no change. So, okay, this is really nice and simple. The only thing that matters on the input is X and Y changing here. So, I want to be clever, but not too clever, you know? If I do juxt take how does that work again? Drop 3, take 3 of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That didn't work. There we go, that's what I wanted. Is Bob Ross RTX a real thing or a bot here? Because that seems bot-like to me. You're real? Want to be the best programmer ever? I hope you understand why I thought that was a bot question, right? Sorry, you threw me off there for a second, I'll be honest. Well, you might legitimately have a text editor better than a text editor better than Emacs, and you are actually welcome to post like your GitHub or something in the chat here, but I can't make any promises that I'm actually going to try it out anytime soon, to be totally honest. Want to see an image of it? No. If you're going to post spam images and stuff, please don't. Yeah, I don't know about this, to be honest. Yeah, so look, I want to trust you, but I am going to deny this because it just doesn't quite feel right to me, to be totally honest. Feel free. You can do a GitHub link or something like that, or you can say the name, and we can do Google search terms later. But I'm not gonna go opening links right at the moment. I hope that's okay. I'm not trying to be mean or anything. I'm just trying to be a little bit careful. You know the deal. What's the differentiator? What about your editor is different than Emacs, different than Vim? Just out of curiosity, because it does, it's interesting to hear about different editor paradigms. So, you know. All right, where was I with this? It's all fine? Okay, good. Cool stuff. So what, are there any, is there any one feature that's really neat? It's not Vim. It's legit just a text editor. Oh, there's a GitHub. Cool. I'm not opening it on my stream page here, but I've got another computer with a browser here. Is this like a little side project you've done? So it's just yeah, it's a notepad. Yeah. So the greatest the greatest programmer question was perhaps a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek question, I'm going to assume. I'm not knocking a project, It's always cool to be working on stuff. Yes and yes, cool. Yes, times 3. No, that's really cool. I'm just, geez. So I, because I'm not flush with mad money, I don't have necessarily the greatest computer in the world running my stream here. When I'm streaming, this computer takes its own sweet time to load up other tabs. There we go. Simple text editor to get things done. No, it's really cool. Oh yeah, you did it C#. Nice stuff. Huh. Really nice. Just run the install, download it, complete and ready to use. Yeah, I'm with Mike. I actually don't know C# all that well myself, but hey, so thanks for sharing links. Thanks everyone for all the projects and stuff like that. Anyone watching, everyone, always remember, try to be careful with what you run, and make sure you trust things, right? That's all. So Bob Ross, I don't know you in person at all. I'm not trying to be mean, and it's definitely the case. This is a cool project, and I assume it's probably safe, but anyone who does download it, you always run things at your own risk, right? That's always the case. But It's good stuff. Once you do more with it, you'll make a production ready version, verified publisher on it. It's really cool. So do you do C#, like for work and stuff like that, or you're just learning it? It's always interesting to see where different people are at skill wise, you know. Let's see here. All right. Last thing I'm gonna do is this arc command, and then I'm gonna have to get going. First C# project. You're a full stack developer, truly. Nice. That's great stuff, man. If you learn full stack, like you say, that's so much. Both, like, that's a lot of programming concepts you need, but it's also a lot of build steps and pipeline work. Like there's a lot of unique skills you need to bring together to be a full stack. So good work. It's nothing to be ashamed of, right? It's very fun though. Yeah, that's good. Glad you like it. It's great when you enjoy the stuff you work on, right? I kind of wish that for everyone, one way or another. All right, all I have to do is it's really easy. All I have to do is destructure this input a little bit. Might be right back. No pressure either way. Thanks for stopping by. Cool to share your projects. That's fun. Ooh. Okay, finish this thing up for a minute. I can tell I'm reaching that point in the day where I have to step away from the computer and think about non-programming things. I would imagine a lot of people are familiar with that kind of event happening. Okay. I want to write this in a clear way that's not too weird, right? But I guess that can work. Yeah, that's fine. And then input will just be, let me just rebuild it. I can't think of a clean way to do this yet, so I'm gonna do it the dumb way. Plus x. Oh, I cannot call these x. Original x, original y. And this one is plus y, oy, y, oy. And that should be sufficient for the arc command. Ooh, I did something wrong. No, I did not. Oh, I'm at the wrong spot here. Oh, there we go. So I will have to build tests for these now because I don't have, well, I don't have any. But what I will do is, let me just make one for a minute. Let's def C is path, D is equal to some string that I have to paste there, and I'll paste this one. That's not it. There we go. Oh, it's got new lines in it. Shouldn't matter. It does look weird though. Let's try it. Translate element 1010 of C. Hey, it worked, I think. A little hard to tell. M definitely worked. L definitely worked. A, let's have a look at A here. That's the thing I need to care about. 3050 stayed the same. Ooh. Something went wrong. Oh, no, there's two. Sorry, no, it actually is fine. So here, 001, 001, 162, 172, 162, 172. L is correct. And then the other A is 30, 50, 45. It worked. Okay. You know what? That is a great way to end with a bit of a success there. Let me get at, oh, let's save this, by the way. Victory. Yeah. You know what? I'm pleased with myself today. That was good. Steps in the right direction for sure. So this should actually be enough. This approach should work equally well with the rotate implementation. So I should very soon have translate, rotate, and scale, which are the three transformation utilities that I have in this library, up to par with path. Then that's everything for the base feature set that I want. Then it's just to documenting a little more clearly, finishing up the doc strings, renaming things here and there to make it easier, a few specs, and a few automated tests, and we're going to be cooking with a 1.0 release sooner rather than later. So that is in the near-term future for me. I'm happy with that. Let's do git status, git add, git commit, basis for path, translate complete. Probably going to ditch the idea of path segments and stick to transformations over sequences of command maps instead. Git push. Sweet. Cruising on through the to-do list. Nice. Yeah, you know what? I'm doing my best to take my work seriously without being overburdened this year, 2021. And I mean, we're not that far into it, but I've got a good confidence feeling of momentum, which is really nice. So I just have to balance not burning myself out and not slacking too much, you know? I want to get that nice perfect amount of consistent output and effort while still having a really enjoyable life. And you know what? So far, I'm doing okay. And you're absolutely right. Cruising through the to-do list. Exactly right. That's what I'm going for. But that's enough for today. Mike, thanks for tuning in. I always appreciate it. And you helped me out with a little problem here and there today too, which is a bonus, of course. Anyone else who is tuned in or was or chimed in with the chat, I always appreciate that. No one should feel shy. I try to be welcoming, and Mike here is certainly welcoming. Other people in the chat are as well. So all that's great. Always happy to tune in and help where I can. Well, I'm always happy to be here when you're here too. So sounds mutually beneficial, right? All right. That's enough for me for now. I'm going to go on a run before it gets too dark. Have a good one. I will be back on Thursday and Friday. I will not be streaming. It is Tuesday, right? Yeah. I'll be back Thursday. All right. Have a good one. I'll be on my way.